Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. So recently I've been struggling with enjoying movies. I'm not sure what the reason is for that. Perhaps I'm getting older, perhaps the material isn't really interesting, maybe the writing's terrible, I'm not sure. But it is very difficult for me to find a movie and enjoy it. I find myself, instead of spending an hour and a half watching a movie, I find myself scrolling to find a movie, which is always very fun, isn't it? So, anyway, I decided that I was going to watch movies that were very famous and that I have never seen before. And of course, most of them are old movies. I am very much a nostalgia merchant, so this should be very beneficial for me to enjoy. And it's exactly what I did. I made a list of movies that I was going to watch, and I started this process, starting with none other than Pulp Fiction. I'm sure most of you have heard of this movie. I didn't know anything about this movie before watching this other than the John Travolta meme, the one where he's looking left and right, trying to find whatever it is he is trying to find. But anyway, I just wanted to see what the fuss was about, and I must tell you, quite easily, it goes into the top 15 best movies I have ever seen. I'm not going to say top 10 because perhaps there's some recency bias, but it is very, very much up there. The movie was released in 1994, an independent movie directed by none other than Quentin Tarantino. Perhaps it's one of his best movies, if not the best movie he's ever done. I was surprised to see some familiar faces, such as Samuel L. Jackson, Bruce Willis, obviously John Travolta, Uma Thurman, and Christopher Walken. So what is this movie about? I'm not really sure, and that's the beauty of it. I know it's inspired by magazine, Pulp Fiction, criminal magazines or something, that's what I read. But the main thing that is enjoyable about this movie is the conversations. You feel like the conversations that they are getting involved in are kind of meaningless, yet have a lot of meaning. They'll be driving, and instead of just showing a scene of them driving to the scene and then showing the scene, we are listening to them talk about Amsterdam, quarter pounders, and Burger King. And they pull it off quite exquisitely, because I was listening to that conversation. I did not know that France did not have a quarter pounder, they have a royal burger. So the two main characters are Jules and Vincent, who are played by Samuel L. Jackson, and John Travolta are a bunch of gangsters, and they very much reminded me of GTA main characters. Just a bunch of hitmen who do side quests and jobs for money. And I must say, the first job they had, which was to retrieve a briefcase from a bunch of Mandem, Samuel L. Jackson deserves an Oscar. That scene of him saying Ezekiel 25:17, if I'm not mistaken, that was sensational. Oh my days. I got goosebumps. And then he shot the hell out of him. And in the second scene, we have John Travolta taking Uma Thurman, who is Marcellus's wife. I think her name was Mia. He takes her out on a date while Marcellus is out for business. He shows her quite a good time. They go out dancing. They do the famous dance, the twister. It's been a minute since I've last seen that dance, and, well, the movie is from 1994, so that quite makes sense. Mia is a cokehead, I think, or I forget the drug. Is it cocaine or heroin? I'm not sure. She's a powderhead, let's go with that. Later on in that scene, she gets an overdose. Just to discuss that scene, that overdose was freaky as hell. And it led to the second greatest scene in the movie. And that is when John Travolta is talking with the drug dealer about getting the epinephrine shot. That was hilarious. It was absolutely hilarious, the way they were going back and forth. But I did hear that both John Travolta and Uma Thurman were nominated for the Oscars for like supporting actor or something like that. I'll be honest with you, I don't think that Uma deserves an Oscar nomination. I don't think she did anything, quite honestly, other than have blood burst out of her nose, which she didn't do on purpose. If anyone deserves an Oscar, like I mentioned, it's Samuel L. Jackson in this movie. His scenes, his dialogue, the way he conducts himself, top notch actor. Big up Samuel L. Jackson. I didn't quite enjoy the third sequence. I mean, it was good. Did not enjoy it though a lot. The third one is related to Butch, the boxer, who made a deal with Marcellus to lose a fight to win a bet. But he decided that no, he was going to win the fight, and he almost killed his opponent as well. The funniest part about this sequence was the beginning, when Christopher Walken gives a young Butch his grandfather's watch. His grandfather and his father, actually, who died in the war. The story that he told about how he kept that watch in his ass for 5 years while he was in prison by the Japanese. I mean, that was kind of funny. The way he was explaining something quite serious to a young 6-year-old boy, 8-year-old boy, I'm not sure what his age was. And then he just said, he kept it in his ass for 5 years. That was pretty funny. I didn't like it much, and that is only because of the French lady. She was annoying as hell. Oh my days. She was conducting herself like a 12-year-old. I don't get it. Well, go on for that woman. But then, it gets better and better, because his stupid French girlfriend forgets his watch. And so he goes back to get his watch. He goes into his apartment, thinks the apartment's empty. He sees a gun on the counter. And next thing you know, John Travolta's character is coming out of the bathroom. Quite honestly, I found that quite interesting. A lot of the sequences in this movie are related to bathroom breaks. I mean, when Mia OD'd, John Travolta was in the bathroom. In this sequence, John Travolta's in the bathroom. And the last sequence, which we'll talk about, he's also in the bathroom. He pees a lot. So anyway, he comes out and, well, dies because Bruce Willis kills him. But on his way back, he meets none other than Marcellus crossing the street. He runs him over, gets into an accident. Both of them are injured and try to kill each other basically in the streets. They go into some kind of pawn shop, if I'm not mistaken. And it turns out that the pawn shop owner is also a freak. He holds them both at gunpoint, calls his friend, puts them down in the dungeon, and they start getting frisky with them. I won't lie, it is a very, very scary situation to be in. Bruce Willis ends up escaping. He saves Marcellus's ass, quite literally. They were a little too late, but better than nothing. They agreed not to kill each other and to stay quiet about the situation, which I would have done, I'm not going to lie. Bruce Willis's character actually did what he planned to do. He got away with it. Next sequence is actually back to the first sequence, where Jules and Vincent go to the apartment to get that briefcase. Turns out one was hiding in the back. He tries to kill them, but his aim is worse than my aim in Fortnite, and they end up killing him instead. They take one of the survivors who's a friend of Samuel L. Jackson's character, Vincent. I'm just going to call him Vincent, I forgot his name. John Travolta's character, Jules, mistakenly shoots him in the face because Samuel L. Jackson hits a bump, or at least that was the excuse. So they take the car to none other than Quentin Tarantino's house, who's a terrible actor, I must say. I mean, he shouldn't be acting at all. That was terrible. Though, he did make a good cup of coffee that made me want to go make a cup of coffee. They kept talking about the coffee, and I was like, I want a cup of coffee. They call a fixer who fixes the situation. I don't know what the word is. It's a fixer, right? They get the situation situated. They take the briefcase with them and go get breakfast before handing over the briefcase to Marcellus. So they go eat breakfast and go into some great conversations about divine intervention and whatnot, before John Travolta goes to the bathroom again. And this is when an armed robbery occurs at the restaurant. And it was the same couple that we saw in the beginning of the movie, which I totally forgot about. But now I did remember, so... Listen, I'm not a professional reviewer, so allow me. Long story short, Samuel L. Jackson's character goes for the Oscar again, provides another Ezekiel 25:17, and provides a different perspective on it before fixing the situation. So Samuel L. Jackson basically does save the day, takes the briefcase to Marcellus, and goes on with his day. He probably lives, as he decided to quit the life, as he said. John Travolta, we all know he did. He did in a bathroom. And that was it. That was the movie. That being said, I do have some questions regarding the briefcase. If there are any movie enthusiasts or experts, especially experts with this movie in particular, since it's such a big deal, what was in the briefcase? I mean, we saw that when he opened it, it was glowing with a gold light, so delicious and heavenly. The answer better not be dirty laundry. I am intrigued by what's in the briefcase. as it does feel a bit philosophical. So that was it. That was the movie. If I was going to rate the movie, I would rate it out of 100. Let's be a little more professional, even though I just mentioned that I wasn't professional, but we'll keep it professional. Rating a movie out of 10 or 5 stars is a little linear, and I'm not linear. I'm professional. Anyway, I would give the movie a 92. Yes, 92. That is very high. That's like an A, maintaining a 4.0 GPA on the classical movie list so far. If you were to ask me where the points went, I would say 6 points went because of the French madam. I just didn't like her. I don't know what to tell you. 2 points just because, just because. I'm not sure. There's probably something that could reduce the percentage by 2%. I mean, there definitely has to be something that could take away 2 points. 50 points goes solely from Samuel L. Jackson. The rest take the 42. He was quite exceptional. I just could not get enough of Samuel L. Jackson. I wish he had one more. Actually, 2 goes away because there was not enough Samuel L. Jackson. Let's go with that. So let me know your thoughts. Have you seen this movie? Do you like this movie? Did I burn this movie for you? If you didn't see it, well, I'm sorry. Comment your thoughts below. If you do have recommendations of classical movies that I should watch that I have not seen and that are very famous, there's a lot of them, trust me. Please do comment below and I will try my best to see what I can do. And if you want more videos like this in the future, don't forget to like, share, comment, and of course, subscribe. Thanks for listening and I'll see you in the next one.